Hello, 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 hello. So, it's not usually like, I don't really have a streaming schedule, but it's not usually the time of day when I usually stream. But I've been busy. There are finals and stuff next week, or like some of them. So, it's been like 10 days since I last streamed, so figured I should do that. Also, I've upgraded my setup. I have these nice little silicon pads that protect my desk. And also, I didn't realize this until I was setting up, but these are just the perfect size for like the camera view that I use. So I can also use it to tell what's in frame. So hopefully I won't be going out of frame by accident all the time anymore. But here is, let me try to fix, there we go. A doll that I'd been working on. So the horns are all hand sculpted, and then usually you do the reroot before you do the face. But I didn't want, like, I wanted to be working on the horns and the face at the same time so I could get those to be cohesive before I started on the reroot. Because I can't do the reroot until the horns are on. So now that those are done, I have it's a very pretty sort of almost pink brown color, which I'm going to be using. And as usual, you very carefully take it out. Get a loop. Get some scissors. Cut it straight down, and I have this. Yeah, that should work. Because then that gives me that for the actual hair length, which is a little bit longer than I'd usually do, but I'm still not sure what I want to do with this doll, so that should work. I smooth out the hank of hair, put it down. I have my reroot tool, which is a hand drill with a needle with the end cut off stuck into it. Because it works. And I have not bought a more expensive reroot tool because I don't know if I need it yet. So, let's get started. Grab a couple hairs, making sure to keep the hank of hair smoothed down because otherwise it will get really messy really fast. And then you fold this over. Pick it up with your reroot. Hold it in place like that. And stab. And that gives you a piece of hair stuck into the head. And then you repeat that. Yeah, I got some tea going over here, which I started pretty much when I started streaming. And I've just realized that I forgot to plug in my computer, so bear with me while I do that, because I don't want it to die while I'm doing this. Alright. I have rescued this laptop, and I am back. There we go. Sorry about that. I'm using my stream timer also as my tea timer, so once it hits like 5 minutes into the stream, my tea will be done. Which I'm pretty sure we're just about at, almost. There we go. And then the head already has holes pre-poked from where I took the old hair out. So we're just rooting into those. Usually you pack it really densely around the hairline, and then you can go a little bit sparser all over the rest of it. And also along the part if you want the hair to have a part. So that really wherever the roots are visible, you want to have it really densely packed. Yeah. Yes. I have been studying biology all day, so I'm taking a break to do this. And then I will get back to my biology. Because there was an exam on Monday. And historically, I've done well on the exams on this class. I just want to make sure it stays that way. Yep. Also, I think I posted about this on Twitter, but I don't think I've actually, like, talked about it on stream. But I got a job offer. Yeah, the college would like to employ me as a statistics tutor, so I might be doing that next semester. Which is good, because I've never had a job before. Yep. I've done volunteer work, I just never had, like, a paying job. Which will be nice. I can have money. Which is usually good. Yeah, that's looking good. Wasn't sure about the color, but I think it's gonna work out. Yep. And then this doll. I'm just working on the head right now, but the body is also underway. And she is going to get new legs, pretty much. Because I want digitigrade legs on this one, so they're all going to be hand sculpted with, like, handmade joints. Which is what I'm working on, but I can't do that at the college because it requires power tools. So, once I have, like, the framework made, I can bring it here and do the sculpting on stream, but yep. So that's what I've been working on when I go home for the weekends. And then, oh, I suppose I should show you guys this. So my last stream, I painted up my phone case, and I was able to get home and give it a spray layer of lacquer. So here it is, all nice and shiny and smudge proof. Yeah. So that's not going to scratch off now. It'll take a second to get this under control. There we go. That's better. Kind of hard to keep a loose hank of hair, like, clean and such. Pretty sure this is a nylon hair? I don't know the most about the subject, but I've worked with a saran before. And that's not what this is. There we go. Saran hair is interesting. Because it's really shiny and textured. So it's really, like, nice looking for certain projects, but also it's a pain to work with because it's stiff, kind of, and really heat moldable. So it will basically hold whatever form it was last in when you heated it. And that makes it a little bit difficult. There we go. Not sure how long I'm gonna make this stream because I have, like, stats class at 6. So that gives me, like, a hard limit, but I want to get a little bit more work done on some studying before I have to go to that class. So, boop. At some point here, I'm probably gonna have to end this before 6, which I would have done anyway, I guess, because I usually keep these down to 2 hours. Maximum. Just make sure they don't take up too much of my time, and also to save my hands and wrists, because this stuff is fun. It's just also difficult and will harm you. Especially this kind of thing where it's just, like, a lot of very precise, like, drilling and such. And you have to do it, like, carefully and also a lot. And that is how you get a repetitive strain injury. Which is not what you want. There we go. I think I figured out how to peel it out of this. I haven't worked with hair this long before, so it's kind of interesting. Also, this texture is... I know I've worked with this kind of hair before, it's just... I forgot how slightly difficult it is to work with. The hairline's gonna take the longest, and then the rest of it shouldn't be too hard. Also, I forgot about my tea, and it's definitely done now, so that's good. Always good to have tea when you're working. I think that applies to any form of work, except for maybe stuff where you, like, I don't know. I can't think of... I'm sure there is one, but I can't think of a job where having, like, beverage on site would be a problem. Because, like, thermoses, that's a thing you can do. Even if you can't be sitting at your desk when you're working. Note how absolutely inconsistent these hanks of hair are. That are these, God, I don't know. There might be a technical term for it. I don't know, but these, like, strands of hair that you put in each hole. Mine are inconsistent in size because I'm new to this, and I'm sure I could make them consistent, but I'm also not going to. But also no. Look at me doing a good job staying in frame. I just have to remember that it's like between here and here. That's where in frame is. So if I stay in that cone. There we go. Yeah. Also, probably going to switch majors. But, like, I can't figure out a way to phrase this that doesn't sound like a pun, and honestly, I'm okay with it being a pun. But, like, not in a major way. Because I'm going to switch from, like, environmental science to, like, biology. Which there is a difference. And environmental science is more policy-based, and I'm more interested in doing research, so... Probably going to switch over to that. Yep. So I'm working on making the popsicle stick bases for the legs. Because I found that that works the best, is popsicle stick and bamboo skewer and glue. Because then you can use the popsicle stick... I'm going to try to explain this better once I don't have my hands full of hair. Because, like, So you take your popsicle stick and then you drill a hole through it. And then you can put the skewer through that. And it can basically make a hinge. Yeah. Sorry, the incomprehensible hand motions are necessary for me to make sense while talking about things. I have a couple more streams lined up, although I don't know when I'm going to have time to do them, because, as I said, finals are upcoming. So I have some studying to do and some papers to write, but... Yeah. I'm also looking at opening up like a Redbubble shop, so I want to make some more designs that I can put there. And I'm probably just going to be selling like prints and maybe stickers. I don't know. I don't know. But a few people have expressed interest in buying prints and stuff, so I want to make sure that's available. Also, this is like way planning ahead, but there's a convention that I usually go to every year, and next year I want to have some stuff to like enter into the art show there, so. Yep. Assuming it does happen again this year. They had to do like, I went this year, or it does happen again next year rather. I went this year, but it was at like a limited capacity. So, and they were saying that if they make enough money to, like, be able to have, like, rent out the space and such next year, they're gonna have it again. Which I hope so, because it's been around for, like, at least, like, 10, maybe 20 years. I know they had an anniversary, but I can't remember what number it was. It's a really cool place, and I hope they don't have to close. Also because it's like the only convention that's really close to home that I can go to. Being an 18-year-old but barely who has no money. I realize that I'm gonna have to stop, like, saying 18 but barely because, like, I turned 18 in July, so I'm actually almost closer to 19, but I'm not ready to think about that. I'm an adult, but only just. Is kind of the point I was getting at there. And I may have a job at some point. Doing some cool stuff in the lab, though. I'm really looking forward to next semester when they're actually gonna, like... in the program that I am in, next semester I get to actually, like, work in a lab on practical, like, working with genetics and stuff to solve real-world problems and such, which I'm really looking forward to. Yeah. So we're learning how to do all that right now before they actually give us, like, a quote-unquote job. I don't think we get paid. More like an internship, I guess, in the labs. So we're learning how to do, like, PCR reactions and all that. So I now know how to do gel electrophoresis, because that's what we did yesterday. Also, tissue staining, which are both very important for working with genetics on any scale. Because basically, alright, I'm going to explain this because I'm really interested in it. So, PCR, or PCR reaction, is how you replicate DNA. And it takes a stretch of DNA and it amplifies it so that you can read it. That's how you genotype things. And then you use gel electrophoresis to basically sort that DNA by size, and then that will give you, or sort that sort of stretch of DNA that you got from the PCR reaction down by size, and then you can use that to kind of almost, it's sort of like a barcode to define what gene that is. Or like what genotype. And then you can use that to tell what genotype the specimen is that you got that sample from. Which basically, okay, genotype is the genome itself, and phenotype is how that's expressed. So with the tissue staining that we did, we're going to see how the genotype that we're looking at is expressed in the tissue. So how the genotype is affecting the phenotype. Yeah, I really like genetics. Which is good, because that looks like what I'm going to be studying for, like, the next 4 years? Yeah. I don't know if I'm going to go into genetic research, though. I'm more interested in going into wildlife or conservational biology, so... But genetics is really cool, and I still want to know about it. Same reason why I'm taking a stats class this semester. I just think stats is neat. I don't know. I don't know how much of this reroute I'm going to do on stream. Because, boy, this is going to take a while. drinking some of my tea. So I might do some of it off stream. Yeah. I like doll customizing. Even though it takes forever and is genuinely a little bit weird and difficult to do. But, as far as hobbies go, it's a nice one. And also the community is great. Like, I'm barely involved in, like, the doll customizing community. Like, I customize dolls, but I haven't interacted with anyone else who does. I've interacted with some Furby customizers, and they're really cool because they also know how to do, like, engineering. And that's really awesome. Because you have to work with electronics to do that, and, like, I can see why some people would think that it's a creepy hobby, but I think it's really neat. And kind of same thing with doll customizing, but I haven't really interacted with anybody else who customizes dolls. But from what I've seen, the community, like, on YouTube is really cool. There are a bunch of really nice, supportive people who are just working together and making really cool stuff. Which is kind of what inspired me to get into this. Which is what inspired me to start streaming, and now I make content online, and it's a thing I do. Yeah. I don't know if anybody else live streams doll customizing, though. It might just be a me thing. Because I know that a lot of people put stuff on YouTube, but the thing is that it takes such a long time to finish one of these that, like, it's almost not feasible to stream it. Like, I do a lot of stuff off stream. Like, sort of behind the scenes work. Getting everything, like, putting on sealant coats, priming things. I try to do all of the painting on stream and all of the, like, rerooting like I'm doing here and such, but there is a lot of, like, dry time and stuff that you can't really effectively stream unless you want to force people to watch paint dry. Just because I have to watch paint dry doesn't mean you have to. Also, I have to figure out what I'm going to do for the rest of this one's outfits. I have to draw up some concept art for that, because I haven't really thought that far ahead. Oh. I can do some of the sewing on stream, too. Although I usually do the patterning off stream because it's difficult and, like, time-consuming. I don't know. I might do a stream where I show you guys how I do that, because I think it's really cool, but usually keep most of that side of things off. I also need to figure out how to get this camera to focus on, like, drawings. Because I want to do, like, streams where I just do concept art and talk to you guys, but that's difficult. Because I do most of my stuff in pencil, and the camera has trouble picking that up, and it makes it hard. Yeah. Good tea. Although I didn't put any milk or sugar in it because I don't currently have milk, and the sugar's all the way on the other side of the room. And I'm all the way over here. So, no. Don't mind drinking my tea straight. That's looking really good. Look how shiny it all is. It's so shiny. I like that hair color. I think it's gonna look really good with the antlers. I don't think I did the antlers on stream. I think that was before I started streaming. If you want to know how long this project's been sitting there. I tried to do some body mods that didn't work out, so this project got kind of benched for a little while. There we go. I have to get the tool around the antlers, which is a logistical nightmare. I didn't think about that when I was making this. And I should have, because this is not good. Also, like, now that I'm in like a general biology college level class, I'm realizing that I'm a little bit frustrated by the fact that they didn't teach us this in middle school. Like, so many things that were just like, that's just how it works. You don't need to know the logistics of this. And so much of it would have made so much more sense if they just told me how it worked. Like, I didn't know about the cytoskeleton until I got here. And that's a really big part of the cell that they just hand-waved. Like, yep, you'll learn about that when it's important. Like, it's important then. It's still important. It's kind of essential to your understanding of everything else. It's literally the skeleton of the cell. That's how everything moves. It's like, if they had gone more in depth about this stuff, I would have understood what they were talking about so much better. Because it didn't explain the fundamentals. You have to explain the fundamentals in order to explain the complexities. There we go. Boop. Beep. Oh yeah, I acquired a new vocal stim. And it's just the word tinfoil. Tinfoil, 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 tinfoil. It has such a good rhythm. It's so fun to say. I like that word. It's sitting there in my brain next to the word milk jug, which is there for the same reason. Milk jug, milk jug, milk jug, milk jug. Just, yes, those are some high quality words and phrases. I don't know, I was talking about tinfoil the other day, and I just said the word, and then I started repeating it just kind of out of nowhere. So now it's here, I guess. Tinfoil, 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 tinfoil. I'm gonna stop before it gets annoying. To you guys, it doesn't get annoying to me, it's just fun. Everyone has to repeat some words now and then, right? Oh yeah, another thing which I have recently acquired. While we're on the subject, and while this stream has the neurodivergent tag, I have found a wonderful fidget that somebody bought for me as a joke. Behold, toy car. It's one of the pullback ones. So it makes a noise. It has a noise. It's so good. Except I save that one for, like, when I'm alone in my room because I don't want to bother other people in class. But it's so good for when you're, like, watching videos and you just need to be doing something with your hands because it, like, it responds to you. Wow. So I have, like, 2 toy trucks in my drawer of fidgets now. That's right, I forgot about that one. I was gonna show you guys the drawer of fidgets at some point. Honestly, I might turn that into a stream of just tour my weirdness. Talk about my experiences being neurodivergent and all of that while I walk you guys through all of my fidgets. That might be a fun thing to do. I have like a list of stream ideas, except I always forget to write things down in it. Because like the idea pops into my head while I'm working and then I'm like, I'll write it down later. And then I don't. Because I'm working. And it's so easy to lose things in your brain when you're working. There we go. But yeah, I got kind of a break from some of the stuff that or all of the work that I've been doing for classes today. So I cleaned up my room. And I said that if I go to that bio lecture and get some notes and all of that, I give myself permission to stream. Also, I got everything done on the pastry list yesterday. Which, if you're not on my Twitter where I talked about this, the pastry list is a list of, like, activities that are, like, between being, like, boring and being, like, a little bit anxiety-inducing. But, like, if I get everything on the pastry list done, I get to walk over to the cafe and get a pastry. So I did that yesterday, and then I walked over and got, like, a peach turnover, which is really good. I have opinions about that, by the way, about, like, pastries. Because, once again, my family, like, cooks and bakes and such. So, like, my favorite thing to get here is gonna be, like, lemon Danish and peach turnovers and all of that, because it, like, has a filling, I guess? And that's a little bit harder to, like, mess up, no matter what you do. But, like, at the local cafe, I've been trying all of their pastries because I need something to do, and that sure is a hunk of meat to roll around my enclosure. So, where was this thought going? Oh, yes, you can tell that the caffeine's kicked in because now I'm coherent and can talk. But, yeah, the scones there aren't, like, to my taste, I guess. They're good, but my sister bakes, and she makes amazing scones. The secret is that you have to grate up the butter while it's cold, and then hand mix that in with your, like, flour and stuff. And that's how you get that really soft, like, crumbly batter. Because you don't want it to be too, like, fluffy, I guess? Have some random baking advice. Yep. Boop. Why am I giving you baking advice? That is a very good question, and if you figure out the answer, please tell me. I got like a prank letter from somebody recently that was like, because I live in a college dorm, and it was like, we know what you did for like Halloween and such. And I'm like, you know what I did? Can you tell me? Because I don't know what I do half the time. I don't even know what I did. Can you let me know? Living in the dorms is weird. You know, there's like, okay, this. So, you know how, like, fire extinguishers have that casing around them? This is gonna sound random, but, like, you'll understand in a second. So, like, they have that glass, like, case that they're in on the wall. I was walking into, like, dorm hall that I live in one day, and, like, there were just 3 bananas stuck in there with the fire extinguisher, and I'm like, first of all, why? And also, how did you even get that thing open? Why are you putting bananas in the fire extinguisher? Why bananas? Where did you get the bananas? Do you have enough money that you can waste it on buying bananas to put in the fire extinguisher? Like, I have so many questions for whoever did that. I guess you could say living in the dorms is bananas. Sorry, I had to. I saw an opportunity for a pun. Boop. Yeah. But I continue to do okay in my classes, and, like, I don't have a roommate, which is nice. Because I have autism and social anxiety, and I talked to the disability people, and they gave me a single room. Thank you. So, I don't have a roommate, which is good. I don't know. I might get one, but it has to be, like, somebody who I know really well and who I feel comfortable, like, sharing a room with. Which, currently, I don't have anybody like that who's also going to this college, so. Like, I have people I know and who I, like, trust, but, like, there's a difference between trusting somebody and wanting to live with them. Mostly in that, like, trusting somebody means, like, I can spend time with you and I can tell you things, but, like, living with somebody also means that I trust you not to get on my nerves. And that's harder to do. It's so much harder to find somebody who's compatible enough to, like, live with you than it is to find somebody who's compatible enough to get lunch on a Wednesday sometimes. I think that makes sense. Yeah. Sometimes you just see things on campus. And, like, not bad things, but just, like, weird. And I guess I've gotten kind of, like, primed to experience this through the fact that that's also what it's like in my family's house. It's like we have various crafters, people with science and engineering related hobbies. There's all kinds of stuff happening. And sometimes people do science in the kitchen and you walk past and there's just like a bowl of sludge with like a warning label about like science do not touch, and like you just have to walk away at that point. You just have to go get your food and leave. Cause what are you gonna do? Sometimes you encounter things that are fundamentally odd and you just have to leave. It's like that time I discovered a -0 on the robot. It Used to be in robotics, which I talk about enough that you probably know. But I used to be on, like, robotics club, and we asked the robot for, like, what its ping rate was, so, like, how well is it talking? Which we always just called the heartbeat of the robot. Because if that shuts off, it's not doing anything. It's like, that means that the robot's horribly broken. So we asked it for that, and it gave us a response of -0. And, like, how badly did we mess up to make that happen? I also once discovered, like, January 36th in Excel, and I don't know what happened to make that error occur, but that date doesn't exist. I have found a thing that just does not exist. My reroute tool is getting slimy. That's why I replaced the hair of this doll. Because the original hair was nice, but it was also goopy because the glue had melted. So I pulled as much of it out, like, through the neck hole as I could, like the dried goopy glue. But there's still some in there, and now my reroute tool has just goop on it. And it's vaguely gross, so I'll probably wipe this off a little bit. Like, I know it's just glue. It's just melted glue. But still. There are surprisingly few situations where things being goopy and weird is good. Goopy is just a bad descriptor. Like, there's some few situations where you're intentionally making something goopy, that if something's goopy, it's just bad. It just usually means that there's something wrong. Especially if it's also damp. Like, short of, like, biological samples, which I will confess are supposed to be gloopy and damp, you don't usually want things to be gloopy and damp. It's just bad. Also, I'm so sorry if you don't like the word gloopy, because I'm saying it a lot. It's kind of a fun word, though, like in sound. Gloop. Gloop. Oh, yeah, a thing. Thing. Yes, a thing. Very well articulated, Corvus. How I got the antlers to kind of stick on is I've molded them onto the head, but the thing is that the clay is solid and the head is latex. So I ended up using, you can kind of see it there, a little tiny layer of E6000 glue, which is, like, flexible but strong glue. So now if I push on the horns, it doesn't just snap it off, because it has that little layer that's holding it on. Which I have found to be the best way to do that. Oh yeah, we finished the entire front hairline. Let me show you. Let me get it untangled from itself. There we go. It's not too bad. Yep. Boop. There is the front hairline. Isn't it so pretty? I'm happy with the color, yeah. Yep. There we go. And now we just have to do all that. And that only took an hour. If anyone needed a reminder as to why people don't like doing this. Fell over. There we go. Now I have to do the back hairline, which is actually longer. hand is already a little bit sore from picking this up and holding stuff. So I'm gonna do this one root, and then I'm gonna like take a words. Take a very quick stretch break. Very quick stretch break. That is a lot of syllables to say very quickly. Oh no, it came off the reroot needle. Uh-oh. Gotta pick it back up. There we go. Yeah. Alright. I'm gonna stretch. I will return momentarily with hopefully less sore hands. I have returned. I have finished the last of my tea. So trying to fix my posture here. And probably failing. This hank of hair is getting a little unruly. I'll have to smooth it out once I get this one in. There we go. People wonder why I don't have shaky hands. If I did, I couldn't aim into all of the tiny holes. There we go. I'll smooth down. Come on. There we go. I got it. It has been gotten. We're fine. Making progress. It may be slow, but we are making progress. No, I messed it up again. Why do I keep doing this? One day I'll learn from my mistakes. That day is not today. Once again, I'm pretty intelligent on paper. I get good grades, and I'm fairly clever. I'm also an idiot, though. At the same time. Don't ask me how. I don't know. I also like to get back onto my video upload schedule, which appears to be unofficially Mondays and Fridays. But I haven't uploaded in a little bit because I have been busy and haven't had time to record. I am having a lot of fun with those niche Let's Plays, though. I also feel like I should find some other games to play through. I don't know what games, though. I have quite a few, like, on my computer, but... You can probably tell a lot about my interests by the fact that the next game that comes to mind is Spore. Already playing one evolution simulator, why not two? I really like biology. Although Spore is not horribly accurate, but it's fun though. Besides, if I do a playthrough, I can explain to you all the ways that it's not horribly accurate. Sorry if you can hear that, people are talking outside, but I mean, I live in a building with other people, so it's kind of to be expected. Although somehow the dorm has better Wi-Fi than, like, my house. Or I guess it's my parents' house. I don't know. I also like to call it my summer home, because it has the merits of being technically accurate, that is where I live over the summer specifically. And also, it makes me sound like I have more money than I do. Like, I can afford to live on a place that isn't a dorm room, which I cannot, but there we go. Yeah. All right. Oddly enough, this is hurting my left hand more than my right. Which I guess makes sense when you consider that that's what I'm doing all of the... like that with. All of that fiber manipulation and stuff. Fiber manipulation? Look at me being all fancy. Don't mind me making a mess of that hank of hair. I don't know why they call it a hank of hair, but that does seem to be the term that the community has settled on, so... Been watching a lot of murder mysteries lately, which have always been like an interest of mine, but I've just been like watching them a lot more now because like I have time, I guess. And also it's like something that makes you think a little bit but not that much. So it's good for like my class ends at 7 and it's good to give me something to do until like I go to bed. Because at that point, like, my brain is tired, but if I go to bed that early, I will get in the habit of going to bed that early, and sometimes I have things to do. So it, like, keeps me from falling asleep, I guess. Which is always appreciated. But, like, for when I have enough mental energy to, like, do that, but not enough to study. I like old detective shows. Which I guess feels to me like that would be off-brand with, like, what people know me by, but, like, everybody who I've told has not been surprised. So, I guess it's not that weird. Given everything else about me. Or maybe I'm just so, like, everything about me is so out of left field, they're just like, okay, yep, that's another thing. Trying to get this all sorted out. There we go. Also, because my hands are steady, I've been put on, like, glassware duty whenever I'm in the lab. I'm the person who can pour things from things into other things without spilling it or dropping either of the glass containers. I have a fairly steady hand, so I'm also the person who's trusted with, like, pipetting and all of that, not to make a mistake, which you really need when you're doing gel electrophoresis, because there's a step in that where you have, like, your gel, which is suspended in a liquid, and the gel itself has little indents in it that you have to put a slightly denser liquid into. So you have to really aim for those those spots, because it will sink to the bottom of them, but you're also, like, putting a colored thing into a clear gel in a clear liquid via a micropipette. And that is so easy to make a mistake with. Also, apparently, like, 2 of our samples got messed up, and I want to know how. Like, I know it's a little bit of a hit or miss process because you're working with all of that DNA and it's really fragile, but, like, I want to know what exactly made those 2 PCRs fail. Like, temperature? That's one of the things that the lab instructor proposed might be a factor, is if the samples were left at room temperature for too long instead of being frozen. That might have something to do with it. So right now our samples are in the incubator, our sample slides are in the incubator, and the gel electrophoresis just got done, so we're going to have to go over that next week, like what the results are and what they mean, and also what the results of those sample stains are. Because we're staining for a specific, like, gene. So we'll get to see all of the areas in the tissue where that gene is present. And that will be interesting. And that should match up with our genotyping. I don't think we have any, we did some genotyping on some baby mice, and I think for the gene we were testing for, we got only wild type and heterogeneous. We didn't get any mutants, which is a little bit odd almost. But I guess it makes sense because we got, like, well, unless one of the 2 tests that failed was a mutant. Because there were 7 babies, and at least 1 or 2 of them were heterogeneous. So, like, huh? There should at least be, like, 1/4 chance of getting a mutant with that setup, assuming I'm doing my reverse Punnett square correctly. So I guess it's just also up to, like, probability a little bit with the genetics and all of that. It's so weird that none of the samples, because all the samples were from working with mice here, and all of the samples were from mice that are siblings and from the same litter. So, like, huh? It's a little bit weird that we got heterogeneous but not mutants. Kind of neat. Nah. It's totally cool if you didn't understand any of the things I just said. A lot of the labs are like, they give you a short briefing, and then it's, like, very hands-on learning. Like, you don't know what you're doing until you're doing it. Well, I guess that's not quite right. You don't know what you're doing until you're in the lab and about to do it. And then they explain it, and then you get to do it, and then you understand it a lot better. It's not like there isn't a lab briefing, it's just like, brief. It's just a very brief briefing, which I guess it's supposed to be because it's a briefing. I'm just saying words now. Yeah. We're doing some really cool genetics work. Not sure what lab I'm going to be in next semester, because I know that they have a couple of ones where I might be, or I might end up doing my, like, I keep calling it an internship because that's the closest approximation, but it's like student research pretty much, but you don't get paid. So unpaid internship is probably the closest technical term to it. Beyond like practical lab experience, which is what it's technically is. Oh yeah, totally switching gears here. My sister is like, okay, I have a couple things to talk about because I've said that and then I was like, there's a couple other stuff that I could talk about. So, first of all, I have come to the realization that I know how to talk about design. Like, graphic design, all of that. Which I guess makes sense because I do art. But my sister does, like, home repair stuff. That's what she does professionally, and she's really good at it. And apparently going to get a promotion soon, according to her boss, and I'm very happy for her. But, what was I gonna say? Oh, yeah, she's repainting my room for me. So I went to go, like, pick out paint colors. And I ended up going with, like, a sort of a cool, like, almost green tinged slightly. Tinged isn't the right word. Green tinted. Sort of very light blue. And then a cool, like, cool white on the baseboards. As opposed to a warm white. Because there are big differences between those two. And I was talking about that, and, like, the reasoning for it is that it's a pretty small room, and that's, like, a color that will kind of make the space look bigger, and also will, like, kind of fade into the background when you're looking at the room, because blue is a color that does that. So, we were talking about that, and we got to talking about, like, all of the different design stuff, and, like, she has a college degree in this stuff, and I was understanding most of what she was saying. So I'm kind of proud of myself for that. Also, the other thing, one of my sisters is working as a barn hand, and the other one's working as a home repair person. So, literally every time I see either of them, they're just slightly more muscular, and it's almost concerning because I am small. And I am fully aware now that they could both pick me up if they wanted to, and, like, extremely easily just lift. Which I guess I expected because I'm the youngest, but oh god, every time I see a member of my family, they are slightly more buff. What's going on? I guess if I go into field research, I'm gonna go through the same thing too once I enter the workforce, because that's also a semi-grueling physical career. So that's gonna be fun. You're really gonna wait until like halfway through the live stream before I start really talking. Because I do have a lot to talk about, I just forget that I have a lot to talk about. And then I end up not talking. Until like halfway through when I start like thinking and I remember all of the stuff that has happened that I have to talk about. Things keep happening to me by accident though. Like I wasn't looking for a job as a tutor. I just got a like good grade in one of my classes and my professor recommended me to the like tutoring place on campus. So now I might have a job. And I wasn't looking for a job, but I won't say no. I sort of stumbled into the lab program in a similar way of like, I guess I'm qualified for this. I don't know when I became qualified for this, but probably in my second year of volunteer work. So I guess I accidentally found a laboratory position for next semester. Like, that keeps happening. And also, I've accidentally been to several concerts this year, which sounds weird because how do you do that by accident? And the answer is you just go places. Like, one of the places where I study is also one of the places where the university hosts, like, concerts and stuff. So, like, at least 3 times this semester, I've just gone over there and there's been live music, and I'm like, I don't know why this is happening or who these people are, but it's free to enter and I'm gonna be studying here anyway, so might as well have live music while I'm studying. This is kind of nice. And that's, like, how it's been for, like, every event I've gone to, is, like, I don't really plan out going to a place beyond, like, I know the, like, 3 places where events happen on campus. And I know that if you go to the student union between the hours of, like, 11 and 1, there are usually a lot of stuff happening. A lot of stuff happening. There are a lot of stuff happening. That's not grammar, Corvus. There is usually a lot of stuff happening. So that's when you have, like, people tabling and stuff, advertising, like, groups and things. Which is always nice, because not only do you get to learn about all the cool groups, you also get free stuff, because they give you things. Hence the ever-growing fidget collection. It used to be a bag, and now it's turned into a drawer, because I got too many to fit in the bag. So now the bag is like a temporary, like, carrying thing for stuff that I want to bring with me. But all of the other fidgets live in the drawer. There we go. I'm surprised my needle hasn't broken. But I guess I'm working with a thinner fiber this time. If you're doing a yarn reroute, you go through, like, 5 needles. Because they just snap under the pressure of pushing the yarn in. Beep. I was talking about something, wasn't I? I feel like I had a train of thought, but it has left the station and it shows no sign of returning. I'm almost done with the hairline. There we go. I'm trying to figure out, like, what I would call this color. Because, like, it's almost like a chocolate, but sort of more red toned. So I'm almost tempted to call it, like, a raspberry white chocolate kind of color, but a little bit darker. Now I'm hungry. The good news is I still have Halloween candy because there were a lot of Halloween events going on campus. And I went to a few of them. And they were just like, I stayed till the end of the event and they just gave me like a massive bag full of candy because they didn't know what else to do with it. So now I have candy. Which might be a bad thing. Because I have also surprisingly little self-control when it comes to eating sweet foods that I have. Like, I don't spend money on getting, like, sweets and such, but if I have it, I'm going to eat it very quickly, because taste. Tasty. And I don't have to spend money to get it, so why wouldn't I eat it? And sometimes you regret that mentality, because you eat way too much candy way too quickly. Not that I'm speaking from experience or anything. Nope, definitely not. We're so close to being done with the hairline. I said I was going to fix my posture, and then I didn't. So I might do that now. There we go. That's better. Marginally. Marginally. I have, like, my list of content I just realized that I just, like, changed the subject out of absolutely nowhere after pausing for a little while, but welcome to my brain. So, I have, like, the list of, like, live stream ideas and, like, video ideas. And I also have, like, the bucket list of live stream and video ideas where it's like, this is something I want to do, but I'm in no position to do it. I would like to collab with someone someday. That would be nice. I realize I'm not that big a channel, and that's probably not going to happen for a good long while, but it is definitely on the bucket list. That is something I would like to try at some point. Oh yeah, going back to the topic of, like, accidentally going to things, I've marched in 2 parades this year, and only one of them was intentional. The other one was I went out to go see the fair, or to go, like, see the parade and go to the, like, festival and all of that, and, like, one of my friends just, like, you want to be in the parade? And I wasn't gonna say no. So I ended up in a parade. Whoops. These things happen sometimes to me. Me specifically. I don't know how often these things happen to anybody else, but they sure do happen to me. We were talking about a culture shock in one of my classes the other day about, like, specifically the culture shock of moving to college. And one thing that isn't really so much of a culture thing, but is definitely a thing that surprised me, is that you could just walk places. Because I grew up in the suburbs, and you couldn't go anywhere unless you had a car. Like, you could walk to a park and maybe a gas station if you were willing to go decently far. And, like, on not a sidewalk. But, like, I walked to a store yesterday, or not yesterday, a different day. I forgot how long ago this was. Yeah, I went to the store the other day and I bought stuff, and, like, you can just do that. You can just walk to a store and buy an item. And I knew that in theory, but boy is it wild to do that for the first time. Guys, I think we're on, like, the last little route here, and then we'll be done with the hairline. It only took an hour and a half. Good news is that's most of the effort. It is done. Hang on, let me get sorted out so I can show you. Whoop. Yeah. After that, I'm gonna kind of bulk it up by filling in the top. It's not going to be quite as densely packed, but yeah. At this point, I'm just pulling out, like, a smaller chunk from the hank of hair, and then just using that, splitting it up into pieces, doing all that. There we go. This is probably going to go a lot faster because we don't have to pack it as densely. Gonna see how far I can get before I have to end the stream. We shall see. There you go. You guys see how it's kind of bulking up a little bit there. That's what we're going for. Just got an email. Alright. That's why I checked it. It's, tonight's class for statistics is not going to be in person, so. I have had so few classes today. Actually, this means I have had no in-person classes today. Because my class this morning was canceled. My one at noon is always on Zoom. And then this one's also going to be on Zoom. There we go.
smooth it down again.
It's almost a good thing that class is online this evening, because that class is at 6 and goes till 7, and there's an event happening at the, like, residence hall that I live in at 7. So I shouldn't be too late to the event if I do decide to go. So I don't have to walk all the way back from the other side of campus. Fortunate thing about having classes at the same time as or that end just as the weekly event begins. I think my neighbor just got home. The thing about, like, living in a place with, like, a lot of other people is that because I wake up fairly early, I am familiar with everybody's alarm clock sounds. To the point where, like, there are people who I don't actually know, but who I sure can recognize their alarm clock. And I know when they're going to be late to things. It's not a factor I would have considered before I moved in. But it is an interesting thing. We're making good progress. It's a little bit hard to tell, but I think we're doing okay. This is a process that is simultaneously tedious and extremely satisfying. Oh yeah, another thing that's kind of funny is that YouTube has had to put in a very specific clause regarding doll customizing. And the whole COPA thing? I think that's how you pronounce it. The like Child Protection Act thing, where you have to mark videos as being for kids. there is, if you read through that policy, a thing that says specifically that the customizing or making into art of figures and dolls does not qualify under the 4Kids, which I find kind of hilarious that there is this weirdly specific group of people on YouTube who were accidentally targeted and who they had to like undo that. It's just no, but doll customizers are fine even though there's only like what 20 of them on YouTube by my estimates. It's probably more than that, but it's kind of funny that they put that in there. Ah, everything became a mess. The hair became unlooped from the reroot tool. That's a tearing up my finger there. which is fine because I can't really feel it, but you can see it's all ripped up from the needle. Doesn't hurt, but it's going to be inconvenient. I'm almost halfway done with the rest of the head. There we go. Almost at time. Alright. That's what we're looking at there. It's pretty good. It's nice and filled in. I noticed I said we're almost halfway done, but we're not nearly. But I am making progress. And I might do the rest of this off camera because it is going to take a very long time and it's a little bit boring to watch once you've seen it. But I wanted to show you guys how I do this. Yeah. All right. Whoop. Let's over to here. Thank you to everybody who stopped by on the live stream and to everybody who's watching the recording. I hope you have a great rest of your day or night, and I will see you guys next time. Bye!